If you're watching this now, that means it's interval time, but this is certainly not an interval with a yawn face. This is an interval with a bit of a difference. Well, we hope that you're going to learn a lot more about this artist that we have, this fine musician, poet, actor, martial artist, illustrator, host. There is, multi-instrumentalist, songwriter, you name it, singer. He can do anything almost, basically. This is Sam Castell-Ward. We're very proud. By the way, I am there, the piggy. I am a pig, yes, that's right. I'm not a puppy. Well, I am real as far as I'm concerned, and I'm female. Hello there, good evening, everyone. And I'm Tilley. Hello, Tilley, Melbourne. And we work together. And yes, we are with Sam Castell-Ward tonight. We're at his EP launch, which is focusing this time on poetry. It's Trapped in This Life. Wow, this is an interesting title, I have to say, and sounds very apt for, perhaps what we might have been going through, most of us. I think if we were on this planet the past 2 years or so. Yes, let's find out more about all of this. And we mustn't forget we have an incredible audience also watching on Mixcloud at the moment. And there might even be people in the music room that are actually watching at the bar, which sounds very, I just love the idea of that, being more relaxed with the drink. How can they purchase your music, by the way?
At this launch night, there is a book you can buy, or zine, as some of the cool kids are calling it out here. It's, has basically all the words for all the poems written down. And as well as involving sort of like illustrations and some photographs, some photographing one of the poetry videos and some photographs and it involves, so it has all the poems as well, like that way you can experience them in the book, and it has a link if you buy this book to where you can go to my Bandcamp page and download the EP.
But this is the Trapped in This Life. This is the launch of a particularly special. I don't know. Is this the first EP where you've actually focused on poetry?
Yeah, this is the first EP that's been of my poems. I mean, my other EPs have been my songs, which, have poetic lyrics influenced by when I used to do poetry since I was a little kid. But this is the first one where it's been me doing my poems, still to music, with music from Ned Smith, Charles Stewart, and Mark Williams from Heart and Soul.
Mm-hmm. Is it okay to ask what, because you're saying that actually this is poetry, but it's poetry to music, which is quite, obviously not always is poetry sort of done to music. And I just wonder actually how you start to create that. So is it that you write the poetry first and you're not thinking actually about what music at all is going to go with it? To start with. I don't know if you mind sort of telling us a little bit about the process.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, it's basically because me and Mark, Ned and Charles have been working on music since the start of lockdown, really, pretty much. And we've been working on recording my songs remotely. And then Mark said about how I had some really great poems as well, and maybe we could work on versions of them. So I showed them some of my poems, and we chose what poems we thought would be good to do versions of with music, and basically people, Ned, Charles, and Mark came up with music just from listening to the poems and just coming up with what they felt worked with the poems.
So originally it was them sort of being inspired. You kind of let go the reins a bit with them, and sort of you let them listen to the poetry and then they actually then could. So they had the space to actually create what they wanted, sort of inspired by the poetry. We wanted to know who inspires you.
Yeah.
You see, with your work, maybe in particular with the poetry, you do, if you don't mind me saying, you do have quite a distinctive style, certainly with your music. You know, it's obviously very like autobiographical, it's very personal, it's kind of political, isn't it? I think
Yeah.
you obviously, you know that. I think it is quite deliberate. But it sort of has a bit like a Bob Dylan feel about it as well, which I think we're not alone in
No, certainly.
that.
Many a person has said that.
Yeah.
In my time. And Dylan was a big influence, and I used to think that Bob Dylan was the only person that did the sort of stuff he did until I heard Woody Guthrie, who was a big influence on him, and I started focusing on my poetic songs. But I mean, often when I do gigs, I felt there weren't many other people doing sort of stuff about social issues, political issues. People wanted to mostly write love songs because they're easy and that's what's popular and stuff. Not, and certainly there are some love songs I like to even take some of my musical influences like Bob Dylan and Johnny Cash and Tom Waits have done some great love songs, but sometimes I feel that's not the only thing that you can write about.
I'd like to know more about Sam. I'd like to know more about Sam, the artist, in general, and what inspired. Because the thing is, we want to focus on the poetry because that is what this is all about. But I think it's important that people know all the different sort of skills and interests that you have. Because you are, for instance, you are a musician, aren't you?
Yeah,
yourself.
I focused on that a lot ever since not long before I turned 14, so it was scarily more than 20 years ago now. But then and it wasn't until later on I realised that there are other stuff I could focus on as well. Like, for instance, when I first got involved in Heart and Soul about 6 years ago, like not long before I was 29, I realised there was actually other stuff I could do. Like, for instance, I hadn't really written much poetry since school, but then it was like there was poetry workshops that Heart and Soul were running, but there were all sorts of activities where people would get involved, and then I was like, no, actually focusing on my poetry again more. Actually, that was one of the first times in a long time I'd been working on my poetry and focusing on that more. And this is something else I could do as well, and realizing there's other stuff I can focus on, like as well as that, and acting, which I do, and it's good at. There were sometimes, not that many, but sometimes some Heart and Soul things where we did some acting workshops. Their program, all sorts.
Oh my goodness, I'm glad you're mentioning that. There's no end to this gentleman's talent. This is the thing. Sam Castell-Ward, it's been lovely interviewing you. I don't know if you have anything final to say, but it's been very enlightening finding out more about your poetry, who you are as an artist. Have you enjoyed chatting with us?
Yeah, of course. I always enjoy chatting with you, Del, and you, Tilley. And I'm really looking forward to showing people things, including some of the videos from the poems and my performance with my band and my solo performances tonight.
See you later. Yay!